This demo shows how to join an OES cluster resource to an Active Directory domain. Before we begin, there are a few prerequisites that we need to be aware of. The cluster pools that you plan to join must be in the active state. Each cluster pool must have at least one volume and the volume must be in an active and mounted state. Upgrade all nodes to OES 2015 and join them to an Active Directory domain in order to provide users with uninterrupted access to their data. This process includes 4 main tasks. Upgrading the pool media format. Enabling the Active Directory identities flag for a volume that you plan to provision for the Active Directory users. Joining the cluster resources to an Active Directory domain. And verifying the service principals for the node and the resource. First, upgrade the existing NSS32 cluster pools with the new metadata structure to provision NSS resources to Active Directory users. This is a one-time activity. Once completed, you cannot return the media to its previous state. If you create NSS32 pools, you have to explicitly upgrade them with the new media format. However, the NSS64 pools introduced in OES 2015 are shipped with a new media format. After the media upgrade, you have to enable the Active Directory identities flag for the volumes in NSS32 and NSS64 pools. Issue the commands at the NSS console as the root user. Run the pools command and verify that the cluster pool is in the active state. Run the current pool media format command. A successful upgrade is indicated by an appropriate message. Run the volumes command and verify that the volume is in the active state. Run the AD identities command. The successful addition of Active Directory identities is indicated by an appropriate message. Next, run the volumes command again and verify that the AD-enabled attribute appears in the attributes column. Create a 64-bit pool and a volume. Although the 64-bit pool is created with the upgraded media, the volume is not AD-enabled. Run the AD identities command to add Active Directory identities. Next, you will join the resources to an Active Directory domain. To join the resources, use the user credentials of the administrator, or an administrator equivalent, or a standard domain user with sufficient rights to create computer objects. Run knet and then open the NSSMU console. You can also open the NSSMU console without running knet. Select Pools from the menu, and then select the pool that you want to join. Press J on your keyboard. Specify valid Active Directory information, then proceed. If knet has already been performed and you want to retain the credentials, press Y to skip. Otherwise, press Enter on knet. This will destroy the credentials cache and you will need to provide new credentials. Specify the administrator credentials or the credentials of the user that has sufficient rights, and then press OK. The credentials that you provide are valid only for this session. Next, verify that the service principals and computer objects are created for the cluster resource. From the terminal console run the klist-k command. These are the service principals of the cluster node. These are the service principals of the cluster resource. Now, open the Active Directory Users and Computers console. You will notice that computer objects have been created or mapped to the pre-created computer objects for the cluster node and the cluster resource. This is the cluster node that you joined to the Active Directory domain. This is the cluster resource that you joined to the Active Directory domain. The OES 2015 cluster resources have now been added to an Active Directory domain. For more information, see NSS Management Utility, NSSMU, quick reference in the OES 2015, NSS File System Administration Guide for Linux.